JKB back with another episode. Today on the show I'm reviewing Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Thank you so much to Nintendo for sending over the review copy. Next Level Games, who developed Luigi's Mansion 3, should be proud of what they've done here. Not only is Luigi's Mansion 3 one of the best looking Nintendo Switch games to date that runs flawlessly, it's also one of the best times you'll have with the system. Let's start with the story. Luigi, Mario, Princess Peach, and a group of toads are invited to a giant hotel known as the Last Resort, but things quickly take a turn for the worst when Luigi awakens in the night to discover everyone is missing. The story unfolds as you visit different floors of the hotel in search of answers on what has happened to your friends. You'll also have a Polterpup with you, which is Luigi's ghost dog that can be used in gameplay elements further into the game. I cannot express how much enjoyment I got out of this story, how much fun you'll have getting onto a new floor and discovering the secrets on each of those floors. This story is really more in line with the Pixar movie than any other Nintendo game you've kind of seen to date. Yes, Nintendo games have had stories and animations at the beginning that introduce you into the story, but nothing quite like this. You really feel immersed into the world because at the beginning you're able to walk around the lobby of the hotel and interact with these characters in ways you've never done before. You walk up to Mario and talk to him and he's like, "What's up, bro?" And you're like, "Oh my god, I've never heard him say that." And it's this connection to the characters that you really feel like you've never had before, because you really kind of haven't felt that way before. It's something unique to this game. If you've never played Luigi's Mansion in the past, you should know it's not like anything else you've ever played before in terms of involving these characters. It's more kind of in line with a Resident Evil game than a Super Mario Brothers game. The pacing is slow at times, with your main focus on exploration of each of the rooms on each of the floors. It's also about collecting. You'll collect coins in everything, and everything can be smashed or can be sucked into your backpack, which I'll get into in a second. And the tool, well, let's just get into it now. The tool you'll be using is called the Poltergust. It's basically a vacuum that works exactly like a real vacuum. I can't think of a better game to play this Halloween. Not only is it perfect for a good spooky scare from time to time, but I consider this to be an instant classic. A game that'll go down as my second favorite game released for the system, only trailing behind Breath of the Wild. After walking around the lobby for about 15 minutes, I soon realized this game has a level of depth that will keep you guessing. There's puzzles around every single corner. There's secrets on every single floor in this hotel. Its level design is masterful. The art direction is a 10 out of 10. The animation is on another level. The voice acting is the best it's ever been. The only issue I have with this game, and I'll get it out of the way right away, is that the controls of the Poltergust are a little confusing. At first, it's just confusing how you use the right analog stick to aim. The issue for me is at times you can't really tell what you're pointing at, and your target may move and you'll feel a little bit off, and it's just awkward. You'll be doing a ton of small adjustments with the right analog stick until you kind of get the hang of the controls. Now, the gyro controls do work well. You can control the Poltergust by basically lifting the controller up or pointing it down at the ground, but you can't swing it left or right, and that is kind of strange. But with that being said, after some time, these are issues that you kind of continue to have throughout the game. But as you get to the next floor, you kind of get a little used to these controls and a decent understanding on how to use them. They're just kind of awkward. Now, let's not forget that the Poltergust is used for finding coins and figuring out puzzles, but it's also the main weapon in this game. Think of this as a ghost fishing game. A ghost will appear on the screen and be causing some havoc and knocking you to the ground. What do? Well, you flash this ghost in the eyes with your flashlight. You could do this at any point in the game, of course. This is also used with some upgrades in the future to figure out puzzles, but I'm not going to give too much away. Let's just say that you flash a ghost in the eyes, which causes him to go into a dizzy state. Once the ghost is in this dizzy state, and only in this dizzy state, will you be able to grab onto its tail using the suction of your vacuum. Once the ghost is in this state, and in the vacuum, you have to hold the opposite direction on the analog stick to pull him closer and closer into the vacuum. Once the ghost's points are down to 0, you'll suck them into the poltergust. And that right there is an amazing part of this game. But not only can you do that by, draining his energy and pulling him in, you can also, if you do it quick enough at the beginning when you first suck them in, slam the ghosts into the ground and also slam them into each other. This is unbelievable fun. Once you get the hang of how to bash these ghosts into each other, you'll be taking them out left and right with no problem. But as you soon experience, these ghost battles aren't just down to the minion ghosts. This comes in handy when you get into the boss battles as well, and other tools that you'll unlock further into the game, which I don't want to give away here. This game is so good that I'm not going to talk about any of the other tools or what you do with them. It's unbelievable how good this game is. Just get ready to play it. So of course you will come into more tools that'll help you take down ghosts in the future of the game, and that is a huge part of the game, but again, I'm not talking about those. The only other part of this game that I really want to talk about is Luigi, or Luigi as he's known. He's this doppelganger of Luigi made out of green goo. I know it sounds absolutely bonkers, and at first it is bonkers. You'll be able to control either of them and switch between them on the fly to figure out puzzles and fight ghosts and bosses. But, is this a gimmick? That's what a lot of people want to know. Is this just a gimmick for the puzzles and stuff? But no, it isn't. It isn't. I mean, again, don't want to give anything away, but there's a character in this game that you'll know and love from other games in this series who gives you tools, and yes, he's in this game and he's spectacular. When he gives you this upgrade, it's unbelievable. You start to realize, oh, wait a minute, that's what I do with him. I go back and I go to the first floor, I go to the basement, I can walk through, grates, or I can drop down through grates into the ground because he's made out of goo, and it's like this epiphany. It's like I can go back and do all this puzzling, and it's unbelievable how well done it is. It doesn't come across like a simple game mechanic. He feels like he's a character in the game, and he's a great part of the game. Now, there's online mode for this game called the Scare Scraper, where you compete online with people around the world in hotel levels. So you go into these levels and it'll say capture the ghost, and whoever's able to capture the ghost first will win. And I mean, the online does work, but because I'm playing this in review mode for the last 2 weeks, I didn't get to play it a lot. I only found a few different games, but the games I did play were fun, and it's basically in line with the main game, but it's more focused on taking out a ghost or collecting the most coins. But I should also point out that, yeah, that works and it's fun, and it does add a lot of value, especially after you beat this game. You'll want to go back and compete, and it is a competition and it's fun. It's not spectacular, but it is a good welcome addition here. There's something really cool here called the Scream Park, which is basically Mario Party for 8 people. And it's unbelievable that this is even in the game. It's basically Mario Party, but you're collecting coins, taking out ghosts, and you can play up to 8 players on your Nintendo Switch at the park. If you've got 8 people with 8 Joy-Cons or Pro Controllers, whatever, you just are playing competitively. Let me just say something. If I had this game when I was in high school, oh my god, we would never get anything done. It would just be absurd. In closing, there's no way I could tell you everything I want you to know about Luigi's Mansion. I want you to experience this for yourself. It's a slow-paced adventure game with this unbelievable amount of depth. I don't want you to go into this expecting it to be non-stop action. Like I said before, it's more of a Resident Evil game. Since I'm highly recommending this game, If you have any questions about the game, let me know and I will answer as many as I can in the comments below because I'm unable to tell you everything I want to tell you. I'm going to give Luigi's Mansion 3 a solid 9.5 out of 10 and say that this game is my game of the year. The team over at Next Level Games should be proud of what they've done here. It's almost perfect, but the controls are frustrating at times, and this is something I can't overlook since that's a major part of the game. But in saying all of this, this is the best Luigi's Mansion game to date. And it's also one of the best games to come out for the Nintendo Switch. You can tell the team was in love with what they made from the design choices. This is the reason why I still play video games. This is a must-own for the Switch, and you do not want to miss this. Pick it up for Halloween, and you'll have an absolute blast. Just keep in mind, it's slow-paced, it's unbelievable in terms of figuring out puzzles and collecting and battling these amazing boss battles. The themes on the floors of every floor of this hotel are different and it varies, and you're just blown away with the level of depth. If you enjoyed this review, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next episode of JKB.